Welcome back, everybody. In this video, I'm going to show you how to write the coronavirus argument essay. I know you're stressing about it, but don't worry. Take a deep breath, relax, listen to the intro music. Don't worry, you got this. So maybe you already heard the news that 60% of your coronavirus AP Gov score is going to be based off of the argument essay alone. I know that sounds terrifying, but trust me, when you finish watching this video, you're going to feel much better about this insane plot twist. Now, you're only going to have 25 minutes to write this version of the argument essay, but here's the good news. They've made it easier to write and easier to earn points. So let's get right to the details. Here's the 2019 released argument essay. I deleted the alternative perspective stuff since it's not on this year's exam anyway. I encourage you to pause the video for a moment to read the entirety of this prompt. Hit play when you finish. Okay, welcome back. So the first thing you have to do is write a thesis statement. You do not need to write an intro. You don't need to do anything besides what I tell you to do in this video. Your first sentence should be your thesis statement. There are two parts to your thesis statement. First is to write the claim or thesis statement that responds to the prompt. So in this case, saying whether expanded powers of national government either benefits or hinders policymaking. That's first. You must also establish a line of reasoning. So let's see what that looks like. Notice the thesis statement. The expanding powers of the national government benefits policymaking overall. So that's the first part of the claim. And the line of reasoning, because it prevents delays such as states making conflicting laws. So this statement earns the point because it both makes the claim that expanded national government power benefits policymaking, and it also establishes the line of reasoning by using the word because. I want you to write your thesis statement just like that. This point is by far the most important part of the essay. In fact, there are 4 other points on this FRQ that you cannot receive if you don't earn the thesis point. Okay, so that's your first paragraph. Even if it's just one sentence, I want it to be its own standalone paragraph. Now you have to write the rest of the essay. You need 2 pieces of evidence, and at least one piece of evidence has to be from one of the documents on the list. Make it as easy as possible for the reader to find your points, so make the first piece of evidence a new paragraph. Begin by identifying which document your evidence is coming from, and then identify the evidence that you're using. That's the first point. Describe the evidence and show that it's relevant to your thesis statement, and finally explain how your evidence supports your thesis. This is where you'll do your typical explain thing. Elaborate, provide evidence, or give an example, and make sure to close the loop. Now remember that every word in the prompt matters. So in this example, you're not explaining why expanded national power is good or bad. You're explaining how it helps or hinders policymaking. So your explanation needs to focus on how policymaking specifically is affected. This evidence paragraph is worth 3 points. Let's take a look at a sample answer that earned all the possible points. The first point is earned for providing one piece of evidence that is relevant to the prompt. The first sentence identifies that under the articles, the national government was weaker than state governments. That is an accurate piece of evidence, relevant to the prompt, and therefore earns 1 point. The second point is earned for providing a piece of evidence that is specific and relevant and supports your thesis. The next couple of sentences point out that under the articles, the federal government lacked the ability to tax and therefore couldn't afford a standing army, and was then unable to put down Shays' Rebellion. Now, you might notice that this isn't particularly well written, nor is it even totally accurate, but they did what they had to do to earn the second point, and that's really all that matters. The third point is earned for using reasoning to explain how or why the evidence supports the thesis. This is the toughest point to earn, so you gotta do your explain thing. This student argues that the articles provide evidence that increased federal power is beneficial, and here comes the key word, because the lack of that power caused rebellions within the country that weren't put down efficiently due to the weak federal government. If the national government had been stronger, the student claims that Shays' Rebellion would have been stopped more quickly. This successfully explains the relationship between the evidence that had been previously described and the thesis, earning the third point in this paragraph. So that's paragraph 2. Paragraph 3, do it all again with your second piece of evidence. It's the exact same process. You can't use the same document as you used in your first piece of evidence, but you can use any document, listed or unlisted, Supreme Court cases, or anything else from your knowledge of the entire course from AP Government. So you do it again. Same idea. Identify where your evidence is coming from, describe the evidence, show how it's relevant, and then explain how that piece of evidence supports your thesis statement. So to recap, it's 3 paragraphs. Your first paragraph is the thesis statement. That's where you make your claim and establish a line of reasoning. That's worth 1 point. The second paragraph is your first piece of evidence. It's where you identify, describe, and explain how your evidence supports your thesis statement. That's worth 3 points. The third paragraph is the same as the second paragraph, just a new piece of evidence. Again, identify, describe, and explain how that piece of evidence supports your thesis statement. That's another 3 points. So that's 7 points total, and that's it. You're all done. See? And you thought this was going to be tough. That's it. So until next time, this has been a LaMoney production. Thanks for watching. Do me a huge favor. Please hit that like button for me. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. And check out the Ultimate Review Packet. I have great study guides for all the documents and court cases. A ton of great practice stuff. Make sure you guys check it out. I'll see you next time.